All right, so this is going to be again another one of like a live discussion with Instagram and then actual the blog recording. So for this go about, I wanted to talk about homelessness in Washington D.C. Like I grew up in the city, and I spent a lot of time around homeless people. Talking to them, getting to know them, giving them money, just the things people usually tend to do. But there's a lot of things people miss when it comes to homelessness, right? I had this buddy in college, and we were having a discussion in the dining hall one day about homeless people, right? About being homeless, and he essentially said that he would never hire a homeless person because them being homeless showed that they had a lack of responsibility, right? That they didn't know how to manage themselves and manage their funds and manage their life. And I was talking to him about it, and I was like, dude, that seems totally asinine. Why would you would condemn a person because they're homeless and say, because you're homeless, you don't deserve to work for me? And I couldn't understand it. So he's from a nice family up in Delaware, and he was telling me about this. He was just saying, when a person's homeless, then that shows that they have a lack of drive or initiative, because if you're homeless, then you need to get yourself out of being homeless. Right? I was like, okay, that makes sense. I got that part. If you're homeless, you need to not want to stay homeless. So the next thing he went into just completely blew my mind, because he was like, I would never hire someone that was homeless. I was like, okay, if you wouldn't hire someone that was homeless, then do you believe that someone else would hire someone that was homeless? Do you think a company would hire someone that's homeless, right? He was like, well, no, because they're homeless, right? If you're homeless, again, it's showing a lack of initiative and drive. So I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you again though. So if you're homeless, right, and you try and go get a job, but they're telling you they don't want to hire you because you're homeless, doesn't that condemn you or put you into a situation where now you can no longer get yourself out of homelessness because you're trying to get a job, you're trying to make things work, but because of your situation, you're being told that you can't work here, right? And he didn't understand it. He really didn't understand the fact that his mentality towards homelessness was the reason why people stay homeless, right? And he was like, well, they get hooked on drugs, get addicted to drugs, they start using drugs. And I was like, well, one, dude, you smoke weed a lot now, so this is anything new. But in their situation, when it gets to a point where you feel like nothing, there's nothing out there for you. Like there's no better. There's nothing better. There's nothing stronger. Right, and you're continually trying to make a difference. You're trying to go out and get this job, and you're trying to go out and make things happen, and truly trying to make the world a better place for you. But people keep telling you no because of the situation you're in. You're stuck in a cycle of this situation where you just can't get out of it, right? So, into that conversation, I'm still thinking like, wow, people seriously think like this. People seriously believe that since I'm homeless, right, I can't be a good person. Like I even asked him, like, well, what happens if, like my house catches on fire, right? And just so happened that I didn't pay my home insurance that month on time, right? And my house catches on fire and everything burns down. And he's like, well, that shows a lack of responsibility on your part for not being able to take care of your bills and your payments. And I was like, dude, that's heavy. For you to believe that, that's pretty heavy. That's pretty deep. For you to truly believe that a person doesn't deserve a job because they missed a bill or something. Right? And he just didn't understand it. At least so I thought. And we had this whole conversation over pancakes, right? So I love pancakes. And we had this whole conversation over pancakes. And the next morning, because we were quad mates, the next morning he knocked on my door. Yeah, it's a little nuts, man. And he knocked on my door. I was like, Mike, you know what, you're right. I thought about it and you're right. He's like, that me thinking like that is kind of, it's really closed-minded. And I was like, wow, I didn't expect that. It's very rare that a grown man will come and admit that he's wrong and apologize. And that was really powerful to me, for him to actually come out of his mouth and say, I'm wrong, my bad, sorry, for even thinking that way. And that was nice, it was nice. Because like I said, I've met a lot of homeless people, I've interacted with a lot of homeless people and asked them a lot of their stories, because the thing is, oh man, I met this one homeless guy. It was down in Chinatown in DC, and we were just talking while I was waiting for the bus, And he told me he was homeless. You know, he said he'd been homeless for almost a decade, but he had a daughter that was in college. You know, and she was pursuing a master's degree. And I was like, oh, does she know you're homeless? And he said, no, she doesn't know. She doesn't know at all that I'm homeless. He said, I never told her. I'll never tell her. You know, it's not something I want her to worry about. I don't want her to worry about me. And I was thinking, like, wow, this dude is seriously, like, living out here on the streets in this frigid temperature. Like, today in DC it was like 23 degrees was the low. And he's living out here in these frigid temperatures. And he has a daughter that's in school right now that probably makes a decent amount of money for whatever her field is. And she doesn't even know. She doesn't even know that her father lives day by day off strangers' change, you know. And I've talked to a lot of homeless people, and the stories are never the same. You know, like some folks, they're homeless because they have a mental issue, right? And then their parents gave up on them, and then their friends gave up on them, their family gave up on them. They didn't have anyone else to turn to. So of course they turn to people, you know, that were trying to show them support, which are probably people in the streets, you know, and get you hooked on drugs and all that stuff. And that's just life. You know, there's really nothing around that. That stuff like that just happens. You know, so you know, I guess when I speak about homelessness in the city, you know, I want people to understand that homelessness isn't usually a choice. You know, now again, I do say that, but I've also encountered a number of people that are happy to be homeless. They choose to be homeless, right? They can get housing and stuff. And thank you, Tiffany. You know, they can get housing and stuff, but they choose not to. And understandably so, because now you're under someone else's control for this housing. You have to follow their rules, right? But if you're homeless, you know, it's your rules. So that I can understand, but it's one of the things where people truly believe the homeless people are bad people because they're homeless. And I love watching those social experiments where the guy or the girl dresses homeless and then they dress, you know, well off, and just to see how people react to them differently. You know, people take the time to listen to them differently because of their outward appearance. You know, so it's just that was one of the things when it comes to homelessness I want to speak on. And the other thing, of course, is you know, childhood education in the city, in the District of Columbia. I'm a product of the District of Columbia, public schools, charter schools, and I can honestly say there were some gaps in my knowledge. Sure, there still are some gaps in my knowledge that weren't filled by public schools. And like I said, I wouldn't be here talking to you all now as ambitious as I am if I didn't attend James Tudor House when I was younger. If it wasn't for that place, I don't know where I would, well, I have an idea of where I would be, but you know, that place was a very powerful place to be because it allowed me to gather outside influences, you know, not from just my community, but folks, you know, living on Capitol Hill, congressmen, congresswomen, people that were in higher positions. You know, even like the former chief of police was one of my mentors, and that was nice to have someone or some ones that were in a position to truly make a difference and donated their time to make a difference in the lives of young children. And I found that extremely beneficial. You know, then I did, and now I still do. So one thing I can say is if you live in the DC area, and you do have young children, I do 100% recommend you put them into some type of tutoring program, right? Like I'm, of course, biased towards for Jan's Tutor House. That's, you know, that was my place. I went from there from the age of 6 to 18. But I can honestly tell you, if it wasn't for them and the outside influences I gathered from there, the experiences I gathered from there, I wouldn't be nearly as decent of a person as I am today. You know, like I said yesterday, you know, perfection, right? Like I'm striving for perfection. I don't know what perfection is, but I know I don't want to settle for second best. And I think it's really important to surround yourself with people that believe in you enough to tell you you can be anything you want to be. So when they affirmed that I can be anything, I told them I wanted to be perfect. And they didn't really tell me I couldn't be. And that's powerful, because with education, I had a teacher. I'll never forget it, Miss Range. And this was at Washington Mathematics, Science, Technology, Public Charter High School. And long story short, because you all know I'm pretty long-winded. Long story short, Miss Range took it upon herself one day in the middle of class when we were doing a group project to single me out. And essentially what she said was, ladies, do you see Michael? She said, ladies, do you see Michael? He's over here doing his work, but he's not helping, the other girls in his group. I feel sorry for you ladies, and this is what you have to choose from when you get older for marriage material. Because this is scum. This is trash. He is trash. And it's unfortunate this is what you have to choose from, your selection choices when you get older. And this was in high school, so I already had a smart mouth, but I didn't say that word. I didn't say anything. I was just like, ain't nothing I can do about this one. There's nothing I can say. She already has me pegged for whatever. And I've been in this AP English class, because there's only like 50 people in the class. I've been in this AP class, for a couple of months now. And it was already clear that she didn't like me. And it was fine. Not everyone's going to like me. And I'm a firm believer that if everyone likes you, then you're doing something wrong. Because even the greatest men and women in history had people that really hated on them, disliked them. But so like public school definitely had its toll. Some of the teachers they don't really love it. And teachers that don't love it really bring down the vibe and the mood for those children that really do love it. It's important to make sure if you have children that you know what the teachers, who the teachers are, what their background is, how they work, because I can tell you right now, there's nothing more detrimental to a child than to have a teacher tell them that they're trash. Luckily for me, I knew I wasn't trash, so it didn't really bother me. But if she would have said that to someone else that wasn't as, I'm gonna say, mentally strong, or as pig-headed, or as hard-headed as I was, you never know how she could have destroyed that child's life, just those words. And once that was all done, with the prom and stuff, and she, say, hey, Michael, you look great and stuff, and I just gave her thank you. But the fact that a teacher, right, like a public school teacher, had the audacity to tell me that I was trash or I was scum because I was doing my work on my own, still to this day, it confuses me. And it's funny because my father called the school. I told him about it. He called the school, and he asked to speak to her. So they spoke on the phone. And he's like, so I heard you said my son was trash, my son was garbage. What was that about? And she's like, well, Michael, he's not doing that good in school. His grades aren't that great. He's not that great of a writer. He's like, okay, that's fine. I can work with him on that. That's understandable. The boy's not a writer. Okay, we can work on that. But he said, so what was this about you telling my son that he was trash? What was this about you telling my son that he was garbage? And she just kept avoiding that question, right? Kept avoiding that answer. And he was just like, okay, all right, well, he just hung up on her, And now, I know a lot of amazing teachers now. I knew a lot of amazing teachers back then. But I think it's very important to truly understand who your teachers, or who the kids are, or the teachers that are teaching your kids are, because you need to go to those PTA meetings. Because if you don't, then you end up with people that are doing a lot more harm than they could ever do good. Why thank you? I can say my awesomeness comes from pig-headedness. I'm very pig-headed. I believe in myself so much. One of the things that I've said many times is believe in yourself so much that others are forced to do the same. And obviously it's working to an extent, because some people are really starting to believe in me as much as I believe in myself. And it's beautiful, and I love it. It's very, it's overwhelming sometimes when I find out people truly believe in me, because I'm just like, some kid from the city that's, long-winded. Hey, Chris kids.
Huh?
Is the tea ready?
No.
Okay. I got some tea boiling. Some water brewing. I think she burnt the water. But yeah, so that was my, that was about 15 minutes, I guess. Little video. I just wanted to talk about, homelessness and child education. So what I'm going to try and do with these videos is do a lot of the live discussions that way, just so, it can be more interactive, because I love doing the blog posts. I enjoy it a lot. Like, this is what it looks like on the back end. So I got the little setup here. It's my punching bag and stuff, and like a table. Like it's like an inversion table, tilt over and stuff. But that's, I'm just hanging out here. And I'm just really enjoying being able to, hopefully, influence people to some extent to think for themselves a little more than they thought for themselves before. But again, so to end this video, if you have anything you want to talk about, if you feel like you need to reach out to somebody, my number is in the contact section. Email is also in the contact section. You can DM, message, whatever you want. If you feel like you need someone to talk to, shoot me a message, because I've been there. I know what it feels like to be completely alone. And I don't think it's something anyone ever should have to go through. So feel free, shoot me a message. If you international, email me, and we can get back and forth. If you live in the area, we can text and get back and forth. If you got dogs, we can hang out at the dog park or something. I'll do my best to make time for anybody that needs someone to talk to. I've gotten a couple of those before. I wasn't bullied growing up. I took martial arts. I was a decent fighter. Nerdy, I can't really. Yeah, I wasn't geeky because, again, I'm not that smart. But nerdy, I used to skateboard and stuff. But my high school was a small knit high school, so everyone was popular for their own things. And mine and my brother Nate, we were just, we were the skateboarders. We were still kind of off. Like, I'm sure y'all can see the eccentricality in my voice and my actions. But I was told I was ugly when I was younger. And I was like, you're okay, right? You're okay. We'll see about that. Because my father, he always, pumped my head up. He sized me all the time. Like, yeah, you got this, man, we got this. So the self-confidence thing always came booming through. Because I always had him telling me I was, amazing. And deserve to live. No one ever told me that, but there was a point in my life where I felt like that. A very long time ago, decades ago. But I've gone through that before, and it was empty. I feel like I couldn't talk to my parents about it, because they were around, but they weren't around, And then the same deal. I actually can't remember how I got through that. I think I just grew out of it. Or I consumed myself in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what it was. I consumed my life in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now that was my therapy, the trading card game Yu-Gi-Oh! That was my therapy. And it helped me get through, whatever I was going through as a kid. And ironically enough, I still have my Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I used to play it online, but they shut down their website, so. So anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to ask me? So again, what I'm trying to do is, at least a couple times a week, do a live video blog, just because these are the thoughts I have, and I just want to share them with you all, and hopefully, you like it or you don't like it, but I always want that feedback, because my thought process isn't perfect, so I'm always looking for someone else to help gear me or set me on the right path with a different train of thought, so I can better understand and grow as a person. And I feel like the more I talk to people, the more I can understand things that I wouldn't understand. because I never lived it. You know, there's a lot of questions I would never ask because I never even thought that was a question. Never even thought that was a thing. So I think it's important to reach out to people and try and get them to share their stories and get them to educate someone else. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video now. I feel like there's no more questions. But again, I do appreciate you all hanging out with me. Yesterday, I had 2 people that stuck with me. I got 3. So hopefully tomorrow, we'll have 6 tomorrow. We just keep rocking from there, all right? Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. You all have a wonderful day. Okay.